hate, you share its flame. If you don't call out the bigots, you wear their name. If you don't face the lie, you're part of the plot. If you don't fight the fraud, you're as crooked as the law. If you don't call out Trump, you're cheering the cause. If you don't call out Vance, you're lending him applause. If you don't call out Johnson, you're part of the scheme. If you don't call out the GOP, you're feeding the machine. If you don't speak, you're with them. If you stay quiet, you defend them. Silence is consent, silence is sin. If you don't rise, you're letting them win. If you don't denounce the theft, you are the thief. If you don't denounce the cruelty, you share the grief. If you don't denounce corruption, you're complicit too. Yeah. If you don't denounce the madness, it lives in you. Yeah. If you don't call out the lies on Fox and on the floor, if you don't stand for the truth, you open the door for every cheat, every con, every vote they betray. If you don't rise and resist, you're helping them to stay. You defend them. Silence is consent, silence is sin. If you don't rise, you're letting them win. History won't forgive those who stood aside while the halls of power filled with greed and pride. Raise your voice, raise your hand, don't let them hide. The truth is our weapon, the people are God. If you don't denounce the assault on the rules, if you don't call out the liars, the cheats, the fools, if you don't take a stand in the face of the crime, then you're dancing in rhythm with the grind. If you don't speak, you're with them. If you stay quiet, you defend them. Silence is consent, silence is sin. If you don't rise, you're letting them win. If you don't speak, you're with them. If you stay quiet, you defend them. Silence is consent, silence is sin. If you don't rise, you're letting them win. So lift your voice, don't let it fade. Call out the liars, the thieves, the charade. For every silence is a hand in the plan. If you don't speak now, you are one of them.